We're holding this rally today during the Olympics while the eyes of the world are on Vancouver because we want to draw attention to the global impact of salmon farming, specifically the impact that Norwegian salmon farms are having on the wild salmon in British Columbia. I was talking to my daughter and she wanted to come up and just say a couple of quick words before I hand it off to Maria.
Save our salmon!
We have a moment here during the Olympics where we have a confluence of people in Norway, people in Ireland, Scotland, and here in Canada, all standing up together for wild salmon. Norway is a very proud fishing country. It's rightly claimed to be a green and clean country, and the activities of just 3 Norwegian-owned companies are bringing that international reputation into disrepute. The global movement against open net cage salmon farms is becoming louder and louder. I think people are standing up together, shoulder by shoulder, around the world in support of protecting wild salmon and the realization that we have a choice to make. You can either have farm salmon on migration routes or you can have healthy wild salmon stocks. And I don't think you can be greedy and have both in certain areas. And that's exactly what George Frederick Rieber-Mohn, the former Attorney General of Norway, said this week. Alexandra Morton visited Norway in May, sat down with him, and they shared a moment together. They shared knowledge of wild salmon and sea lice and what's happening at home in Norway, where salmon farms are spreading sea lice, where wild Atlantic salmon has gone in various areas. If we don't do something here in British Columbia, it's going to be too late. Salmon cages have spread like a cancer along our coasts. The only cure is to rip them out. And on Monday,
our grizzly bears, eagles, whales, and porpoises are all suffering from the lack of salmon in our oceans and rivers. Grizzly bears are spending less time in the rivers and more in the mountains. They're not fattening up for the winter, and their cubs are not surviving hibernation. We are going to lose this ecosystem without our wild salmon. I respect Norway as a nation, and I hope that our government can learn from the mistakes that they have made in the fish farming industry around the world. I sincerely hope that Norwegians can help us save Canada's wild salmon. We are making progress in this battle, however, it is not over and we have not won it yet.
Despite what deniers continue to say, salmon farming is a great threat, it is a great risk, and it has done tremendous damage on this coast. And even if we go to the southern hemisphere where they've introduced the Atlantic salmon to Chile, it has done tremendous damage there. It has brought the Atlantic diseases to the Pacific. Sooner or later, anemic, infectious fish salmonid anemia may end up in this coast and devastate not only the Atlantic salmon in the cages, but also our wild salmon, and that'll be a hit that'll just haunt us forever. Why did we ever get in this position? Why were those decisions ever made? And the decision to bring Atlantic salmon here was really stupid, to say the least.
I find it absolutely offensive that the Norwegian government can have national salmon fjords where they keep the fish farms out of their river system areas to protect their wild salmon runs. And yet they come here and they put a multitude of farms in and around our wild salmon rivers. I find that offensive. We are gathered here to send the message that that social license that we possess to give to these companies is now disappearing. That we insist that this industry evolve. We insist that this industry becomes 100% responsible for all of their activities. Enough of offloading the wastes into our territory and antibiotics and the chemicals and the neurotoxins. Enough. Because what they do is they externalize their costs into the environment of our people. And I want to share with you, because as was mentioned, we did a 29-hour fast, 1 hour for each fish farm tenure in our collective territory. And we managed to get the word out through Facebook, of all things. And now I'm happy to report to all of you I have about in excess of 30 friends in Norway. And I know I'm not going to say his name right, but he put something on my wall today. And his name is, oh gosh, where'd it go? Thomas Husmo Littlskar. And he says, I would like to give my support to your fight for saving wild salmon. A lot of Norwegians are against the aquaculture industry and its fish farms, which have destroyed the wild salmon in many rivers of Norway. We are disappointed in our government for thinking more about short-time profit than preserving our wildlife. Does that sound familiar to you as Canadians? Does it? There was a shaman of the Sami people in Norway. For one reason or another, felt that I had put a spell on the Norwegian Olympic team. I know many of you have probably read that. If I had that ability, I would not turn it on the Norwegian people. I would not turn it on the athletes that step up and represent their country. I would not do that. I would definitely turn it towards the fish swimming inside pens.